The NBA is so ridiculously talented, it's crazy to me how every year 60 players can be drafted, and of those 60, maybe 10 to 15 will go on to have a long-lasting career in the NBA, and of that number, maybe 2 or 3, if it's a good year, will be from the second round. With that in mind, I wanted to take a look at some of the young players that for one reason or another didn't get recognized immediately for how good they could be in the league, and fell all the way to the second round to make for some draft day steals, and some first round picks that might have been overhyped or just didn't work out for whatever reason. For all second round picks, I just went for who I felt had the combination of most talent, most successful career to date, and potentially brightest future. For the worst first round picks, I tried to choose the worst literal picks made with everything considered at the time, not necessarily the worst players, because with the gift of hindsight, we can see who teams missed out on. Before we start, I just want to apologize in advance if you disagree with me or think I missed a player that was more deserving. I tried to be as impartial and balanced as I could be, so let me know who or what you disagree with in the comments section, and I'd love to talk about it with you guys. We're going to start with picks chosen from 2017 and work our way backwards to 2007, and if you guys enjoy this, I'd love to do a second part going back even further. With that, I'm Mac Pinko, and these are the best second round picks and worst first round picks of the NBA draft. Starting with the 2017 NBA draft, I was stuck between two players for the best second round pick, Frank Mason and Jordan Bell. I love Frank Mason on the Kings, and I think he's a great point guard, but in the end, I had to give it to Jordan Bell. I think Frank was potentially the better player last season, but the upside on Bell is too much. His lockdown defense combined with decent enough offensive talents, and getting to play under almost the perfect veteran for his game in Draymond Green just puts him over the edge. Honorable mention to Frank Jackson. The guy is an athletic freak, and I still think he could be a steal from the second round. Now for the worst first round pick. This one seemed fairly straightforward, and I had to go DJ Wilson. My reasoning is anybody not taking Donovan Mitchell with those first 12 picks could potentially get some flack, but all the players picked before him are still starter quality, high upside players. But with DJ Wilson, you still missed out on players like John Collins, Jarrett Allen, OG Anunoby, Kyle Kuzma, and Josh Hart, and you might not have even gotten an NBA quality player, although he's still really young and could always prove me wrong. The best second round pick for this year was hands down Rookie of the Year Malcolm Brogdon. Although he gets criticized for his Rookie of the Year status since the draft class wasn't particularly deep, being much more top heavy, and his stats weren't quite as impressive as past Rookies of the Year, he still surprised everybody with a great rookie season, helping the Bucks to fill out the roster with a guard who can play the 1 or 2, and someone who still has a lot of room to grow. Another easy one for worst was Papagiannis at 13. There are a lot of players in this class who went and you could consider them projects who might need some more time to pull it together, but Papagiannis was not one of them. As of right now, he kind of looked like a fringe D-League player, maybe, and getting waived by the Kings so soon and heading back to sign a 5-year deal in the EuroLeague really shows that this pick didn't age well. There were actually a few players who were turning out really well from the second round of this draft class, like Montrezl Harrell, Willie Herman-Gomez, and Richaun Holmes. But I think Josh Richardson is probably the best of them. The guy's got a really developed game and is looking like he's going to be a key piece for Miami in the upcoming years. Rashad Vaughn is probably the worst pick of the first round of this year, but I'm not totally sure why. It seems to me like he just can't find his rhythm in the NBA. I think the talent's there, but he just can't adjust to the league. And after being traded so soon and missing out on DeLon Wright, Rondae Hollis, and even Tyus Jones or Bobby Portis, the pick is not looking good as of right now. Jokic for this spot is an easy decision. He's one of, if not the best passing big men in the league, and is making an amazing point center for the Nuggets. I don't think this pick needs to be explained that much. He's a fringe all-star and could easily make the cut within the next season or so. I wanted to go Bruno Caboclo here for the worst pick, but with him still being in the league, there was a pick from 2014 that was a little bit worse that didn't get nearly the attention the Turkish Kevin Durant got, and that was Mitch McGary. Both picks were bad, but McGary is out of the league and the Thunder missed out on Shabazz Napier, Clint Capella, Rodney Hood, or even Bogdan Bogdanovic. Allen Crabbe has been a surprisingly good player in the league, even making bank last summer when he got paid $19 million to play for Brooklyn. The guy is young and can stroke it and has proven he probably should have been taken in the first round. He definitely has the talent to back it up. Okay, so this is probably one of the most infamous first overall busts in NBA history, and with so much talent going behind him, it made for easily the worst pick of this draft. Anthony Bennett at number 1 by the Cavs was as surprising as it was a bad choice, with everybody thinking Nerlens would go there. While Nerlens' career hasn't turned out exactly how everyone envisioned it, he was without a doubt the better decision there. 2012 was one of the toughest picks for best second rounder I had to make. Both of these guys are absurdly talented, but their career so far in the league is what sealed the deal for me. Draymond Green is a 3-time champion, 3-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, and really is the glue that keeps Golden State like the monster team that it is. His defensive abilities are what separate him from other guys in the league, but he can pass and shoot and definitely has a feel for offense. Chris Middleton is also ridiculously talented, and this was hard because I definitely feel like he doesn't always get the credit that he really deserves, getting better every season. Overall, this was a really great second round class, with other players like Jay Crowder, Will Barton, Thomas Satoransky, and Kyle O'Quinn making late game steals by their respective teams. Thomas Robinson at 5 was a bad choice, but at the time it made sense for the Kings. He was looking like he could really make an impact in the league, but for whatever reason he just couldn't figure the game out. He had the size, strength, and feel, but just couldn't make it work, and with so many players with insane upside coming after him, this was the easy pick for worst first rounder. For right now, I'm going to give this spot to Isaiah Thomas. The guy has been lighting it up scoring-wise his whole career, but really shined in the Boston Celtics system, posting all-star numbers and just taking his game to a whole new level. I'm going to be real with you guys though, I'm hesitant about this choice because his injury is really scary. If you look at a list of players who suffered from it, few have come back to be the players they were before. It's just a tough injury to come back from. I'm rooting for him and I hope he comes back to his all-star form in Denver, but just in case, for most consistent career, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Bojan Bogdanovic. Jan Vesely at 6 by the Wizards was the worst first rounder by a pretty wide margin here. He was taken really early, never really made any kind of impact, and was out of the league in 3 years. This was probably the hardest year on this list for decisions for me. You guys probably noticed, Lance is one of my favorite players in the league. He's managed to have a fairly successful career and is an overall good player, but Hassan Whiteside has definitely had better seasons. Although, as of right now, there's a lot of question marks all around him surrounding his attitude, can he adjust to a new system in Miami, and if he really wants to play basketball. I don't want to ride the fence too hard, and I want to give you guys clear-cut answers, so I'm going to say Hassan Whiteside is probably the best of the second round in the 2010 draft. Hassan is a monster rebounder and is great with blocks. He's even good enough to turn a block into a steal with his long wingspan. The worst first rounder was equally as difficult for this year, but not for the reasons you might think. There were so many prospects in this class that just didn't pan out, and I couldn't decide if I should pick someone because a team missed out on a much better player even though the player they chose has had an okay career, or just pick someone who was flat out bad while missing out on some decent talent. I'm gonna go with Cole Aldridge here just because he was taken kind of high with the 11th pick and really hasn't done much in the league, while also missing out on some better players like Bledsoe, Ed Davis, and Avery Bradley. For the best second rounder of 2009, I have to go Patrick Beverley, although there is some tight competition with both Patty Mills and Danny Green. Pat Bev is just a pit bull with lockdown defense, athleticism, a three-point shot, and the attitude he always brings to the court. Danny Green has probably had the more successful career, winning the championship in 2014 with San Antonio. I think Pat Bev is just the overall better player and would be an awesome addition to any team. Definitely a great pick in the second round. Hasheem Thabeet at number 2 in this draft is hard to beat for worst first round pick. The Johnny Flynn pick gets a lot of heat just because he was chosen right before Steph Curry, but take a look at all the players they could have taken with the number 2 pick. James Harden, Steph, DeMar DeRozan, Tyreek Evans, Ricky Rubio, or even Drew Holiday. At the time, the beat looked promising on size alone, but just had trouble adjusting to the NBA game. The best second round pick in this draft was another tough choice, with both Dragic and DeAndre Jordan being really great players at their respective positions. DeAndre is probably the better player for the position, but this is a really close one. DeAndre just gobbles boards, has good hands for catching easy lobs, and has a great feel for defense, and easily should have gone in the first round of the draft. Joe Alexander at number 8 by Milwaukee was an easy pick for worst first rounder, playing in only 2 seasons, 67 games total his whole career, before leaving the league. For what it's worth, he had a great career so far in the Israeli league, going on to be a 3-time Israeli Cup winner. Marc Gasol was the best of the second round by a pretty wide margin in 2007, with Big Baby Davis coming in second. Marc is just a great offensively minded big man who still gets buckets, averaging 17.2 points per game this season. It's crazy to me that someone as good as Marc Gasol fell so late, even for the second round, going 48th overall in the draft. I didn't want to, and I still feel bad for doing it, but I have to go Greg Oden for the worst first round pick of the 07 draft. The talent was there, and I can't fault the literal pick because he looked like he had a bright future. It's just he was so injury prone. He only played 105 games his whole career. He could just never bounce back, and with Kevin Durant right behind him, it really nails it in for the worst first rounder that year. After going through all these years, it's really crazy to me how there's talent of such a high level that can slip so deep into the draft class through talent scouts. I mean, it's bound to happen, but still, and really interesting how players can come up and prove to everyone how good they are and how slept on they can be. This seemed like a good point to stop at, and if you guys enjoyed, I can always keep going. This video was a lot of fun to make, and I'd like to thank the Redditor Eric199479 for helping me go through these drafts and talk out some of the pros and cons of each pick. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you disagree with me on anything or have a different opinion, please write about it in the comment section. I'd love to talk about it with you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.